Hello, welcome to Squishy Vision. I bought a Elgato. Let me use words properly. I bought I bought a prompter from the company that makes stream decks. Elgato. There we go. And I'm now using that to do my streams with. I should have set something up to kind of show you. I guess I can do it in a very kind of haphazard way. You can. This is like the worst way to show you what I'm doing, but yeah. Anyway, there's a thing. There's a streaming thing. There's a, what do you call it? I'm talking to a teleprompter, so it'll be fun. Me talking to the screen rather than down here. And I've put my chat on the iPad next to it, so we're good. And I should probably install Nutty's thing that lets me view my levels, but it's fine. I can see my levels down here, so don't worry about it. I've also like altered slightly my music levels because I was listening back to one of my streams and it was far too loud. I think it might actually be far too quiet. Hard to tell. We won't know. But you listen to Pull Away with our backing track. That's not what you're here for. I experienced watching episode 3 of Skeleton Crew. Very interesting as an astrogation problem. And yeah, I'm enjoying the show massively. I think it's still going strong. I mean, hey, a show is doing well when it ends, and you're like, no, don't end there. Like I was genuinely wanting it to keep going. There's not been anything particularly like, oh no, what I just moved something. That's going to need to move. I just meant to move this thing. Hopefully that's fine. Hopefully it wasn't anything important that it actually moved. Like there's not been anything like kind of like mind blowing, but the show knows what it's doing, and it's doing it well. The character that Jude Law plays, that has multiple names, we'll say Silver because that's one that I can remember immediately in my head, is at this point sufficiently ambiguous enough. So I think it's clear that he's not a Jedi. I think he's admitted that. But then he doesn't actually admit who he is, which I think is frustrating, but also appropriate. Like, it's frustrating because I want to know who his character is, and if I was there making the ultimatums the kids were making, I wouldn't settle with the answer he gave because that was like nowhere near. But also, I guess they were like, they were playing a hand, and they were very aware that if they stalled too long, they might not get home. So it does make sense that they would kind of get what they were given. So we know he's not a Jedi, but it's very unclear, and the episode deliberately lampshades this. Is he actually a Force user? I mean, Wikipedia seems to agree that he is, and he does enough things in the episode that you have to think, well, he must be a Force user. I mean, there's no, how could he pre-plan to be able to turn off the lights and stuff on a ship? And there's plenty of Force users in Star Wars who aren't Jedi, and I don't think they were trying terribly hard to hide that. Obviously, we knew he was a pirate captain from before. They never. It's weird. They never make it like. They never act as if it's a reveal. Like as when he escapes, all the pirates are like, "Oh, Silver's escaped. Silver's escaped," and it's not framed or signified to us that it's meant to be a reveal, which implies that their decision to kind of not make it explicit that Jude Law was the captain in the first episode when he was on screen and he had a mask on, he was disguised. Everyone was like, oh, they might be trying to like be a bit kind of like tricking us into thinking this isn't Jude Law, but it's obvious that he is. But then this episode reveals it as if it's no big deal, which kind of suggests that we were always meant to like assume it was Jude Law from the scratch. I mean, it wasn't massively hidden, so I kind of appreciate the fact that it just kind of moved on, and we can accept that Silver is Silver. But yeah, so he's a pirate captain. He you know, when the kids are like, oh, or when Mainly's like, oh, you're a Jedi, you do all this Jedi things, and when Fern is like, as a Jedi, shouldn't you be acting a bit more compassionate or a bit more like altruistically? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, that's not what Jedi like. And you can tell it's not like coy about the fact that he's clearly like pulling them along, and I think they all suspect it anyway. And the episode at the end reveals that he's not actually a Jedi. Like his attitude towards the kids, the fact that he fed himself or he fed them, the fact that he's like clearly like pushing his own agenda kind of attitude. And they don't, try to like pull that thread much longer in this episode. At the end of the episode, he flat comes out clean that he's not a Jedi, but he could be anyone else, and they haven't really like clarified who he is, and they still leave it ambiguous as to if he's a Force user. So at the moment, it seems strongly suggested that he is, but the characters themselves doubt it. They mentioned a whole bunch of other ways that he could have faked the Force. And we have seen it happen. We saw Russell's name's character in Obi-Wan Kenobi do that, admittedly in a stage of his own creation. So, I think it's likely that he is a Force user, but I don't think they're gonna like tell us who he is immediately. I think there's gonna be drips and pieces until the final episode of this season. I think that's probably how the best way to play it, and I think that's probably how they're gonna play it. And like it's unclear, like because like his morality is very unclear, and we've not seen enough really yet. Clearly, he is. I heard a big thump, and I'm like, "What have my cats done?" Clearly, there is a degree of selfishness with his behavior, but he did promise to help the kids. I mean, he like KB mentioned, everything that he promised to do, he has done so far. So he might be suspect as heck. And I like the fact that there's always conflict between characters. And it's not as if there's like, one person who doesn't trust them. And everyone's like, no, you're being too unfair. You're being too rational. You're being too distrusting. There is actually, I do appreciate it. It's kind of refreshing. But there is like a conflict between everyone. Like, Fern doesn't trust him and doesn't think they should go with him. KB doesn't trust him, but doesn't think there's much of a choice. Win obviously like completely and utterly like is admiring of this person who he in most episodes believes is a Jedi, and Neil is obviously like a bit in the middle still, but kind of going along with what Win tells him to do. So like we've got his like spectrum, because usually in these kind of like situations, it's so easy to just do everyone believes this person except one person who gets proven right at the end, and it's kind of miscommunication and like, why don't you just trust this person? And I'm kind of appreciating that they're not taking that approach, and obviously it's unclear how this affects Win's attitude towards Silver going forward, given that Silver. Have I just realised that Silver's a reference to Long John Silver? I'm being very slow. But yes. But so, like, he's kept his word so far. I mean, he even goes as far as to rescue their droid for them when they all become difficult, even he probably almost certainly could like have overpowered them, which says something. And he didn't have to go along with their wishes. Only in your who you are in the dark sequences, he clearly is up to something. And it's unclear what, like, he does mention to them that they're both after the same thing, and I don't know if it's mid-clear what that same thing is. It might very well just be money, and he's like, I'll get you home to El Atom because that's the famed secret planet of treasure thing, or something else by the planet. When he said, "Oh, I'm like you," I thought the reveal was going to be he's also from Al-Atan, but like years ago, and that hasn't been revealed. So I think that's maybe just me misunderstanding. I mean, it would be an interesting reveal if it was. What else was I going to say? And yeah, Kim, the owl character who I love, is like immediately distrusting of him, tries to like sell him out to the Republic. And I mean, us as the viewers know that the Republic at this stage is like, it's inefficient, ill-efficient, but it's not like evil or corrupt. And I don't think it ever does become corrupt until the worst thing it does is appeasement and lack of competency. Also, I've realized that all the like the Mandalorian verse, I hate that term, but all the Mandalorian verse Star Wars shows all happened in the same year. Like all 3 seasons of the Mandalorian, plus the Book of Boba Fett, plus Ahsoka, plus this show, all happened 9 ABY. Why do they all happen in the same year? What's so crucial about 9 years after the Battle of Yavin? Where was I going with this? Yeah, Kim doesn't trust him, but doesn't actually like reveal to the characters why they shouldn't trust Silver. And all of the kids follow him back onto the ship. KB's like, we don't have much of a choice, but I don't trust him. And then they do a really, really nice scene where they all kind of like force him to like reveal something, and he kind of reveals bits, but not others. I love the relationship between the kids and SM33. I love how he's just like their little like enforcer. Like they've all got this kind of enforcer droid, and he's known them for like 2 days, and it's that meme. It's like, oh, I've known these kids for 2 days, but if anything happened to them, I'd kill everyone and myself. Meme from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is essentially the case for SM33. I'm not sure if there's something else going on with SM33 that was kind of revealed in the scene between the two of them. I don't think so. But I just love that character. I think he is like the best character in the show. I think KB the second best character in the show. Well, I think the 3 best characters in the show for me so far are SM33, KB, and Silver. Jude does a fantastic job of playing his character. I think it's very it's cartoony, not in a bad way. It's like he's doing a good job for a character for what is a Amblin style family adventure, where he's not trying to play a dark character, but he's playing morally ambiguous in a way which is acceptable for a younger audience. I'm not sure I'd say this is for a younger audience. It's rated on Disney Plus 12 plus. And I think most Amblin shows would be PG, but I also know there's kind of this treadmill effect with age ratings. KB, I think that actress playing KB is doing a really good job. Like, she's playing this data type where, because they're a cyborg, they're obviously coded to be quite like emotionless. And it's a difficult role for someone to play endearingly because it can come across very easily as wooden. And I think she's striking a balance very well. The other kids, I think Fern is the next best of the actors. Hard to really judge the acting of Neil, because Neil is voiced by a kid and not played by a kid. And Wim is, I think, the weakest, but not bad. He's just the weakest of the lot. But there is some like endearing moments. I love the kind of different reaction they both have to being sent into turrets by Silver, where Fern just like begrudgingly, well, she's still moody about him like giving him orders, but I think accepts that he knows what he's doing. And then the second that Wim gets like shown his own turret cockpit, just giggles, and it's like, yeah, that's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do if I was on a ship and someone's like, "Can you take the turret?" I would giggle. And then the fact that when Fern is in the cockpit shooting towards the X-wings, can't help but enjoy herself and make it competition because they're kids, and that's completely like realistic for a kid. Not like completely like accepting it's what they're doing, but like acting in that kind of like grown up but also childish kind of way. It would be quite dark if they ended up killing one of the X-wing flat pilots. Unfortunately, they didn't. I think it would have been very kind of awkward for them to like come to terms with. So I really love that moment. We learn more about Al-Atin. We learn ooh, my green screen's like Oh, I'm just too close to the thing. So I don't know if this was revealed in previous episodes, but it was made clearer in this one. But Al-Atin didn't even know there was a war at all. Didn't know Alderaan got destroyed, so they don't know anything happened in the last 9 years. Unclear if I know about the Empire. I think someone said in the previous episode that dialogue suggested that they still fought. Maybe I have to watch back or look at the transcript. But dialogue, I must have missed me if it was explicit. That dialogue reveals that they still think it's the Republic. The Old Republic? What's the Republic called that's set in the prequels? Because the High Republic is before then. Is that just the Republic, New Republic, Old Republic? I can't remember. But they still think. I think they still think it's then. I don't know. I can't remember the line dialogue, so I don't know if that's true or not. Certainly, I don't know the last 9 years have happened because I didn't know about the war, and the Galactic Civil War has been roughly going for about 10, 12, 13 years. Depends where you kind of start. If you count the start of the Galactic Civil War as being the events of Rogue One, then it's about 9 years. If you count it from Star Wars Rebels, probably more accurate, or just before then, it's probably been about 12, 13, 14 years. It's been going on. But they didn't know about any war, so it seems I would presume they didn't know about any of that. And you know, the revolution against the Empire started pretty soon after the rise of the Empire. It wasn't a long kind of duration between the two. And I feel it's an interesting concept. An entire planet that is part of this, like, that isn't like remote or distant or not full of humans, but just doesn't know about the Galactic Civil War, a very kind of fundamental part of Star Wars. It is the original of the Star Wars. I hope they explore that. I don't know if they're going to explore it in this show, but I hope they do explore that. And then obviously that increases the mystery of Al-Atin. What are they doing? Why have they cut themselves off? Who on the planet knows what's going on? Who on the planet doesn't know what's going on? How much is revealed to the general populace? How much isn't revealed to the general populace? And are they in fact all mining crypto? Sorry, money. If this is a big commentary in cryptocurrency, I will be very impressed. That's kind of a bold direction to take. So yeah, I'm very enthusiastic. It's not, it's not like the peak of Andor, or the peak of the Mandalorian. But these 3 episodes have been fairly consistent, and they've captured the intent of what I think they were going for, and I think that's the main thing. So those are my thoughts on. Did that just like appear? No, okay, I'm supposed to blink. Those are my thoughts on Episode 3 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Very interesting as an astrogation problem. Thursday. Is today Lower Decks Day? I can't remember. But I'm not watching it now. I'm watching it later on. So thanks for tuning in. I have actually really enjoyed using my new teleprompter. It draws my eye much more easily than my small. It's weird because it doesn't quite work because my camera isn't really the type of meant to mount onto it. I'm actually having to rest my teleprompter on my computer monitor screen because my camera stand doesn't actually support the weight of the teleprompter. I might be able to tweak attention, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. And also the lens on my camera is motorized. And it's annoying because when the camera, when you turn it off, it collapses. Or at least the lens does, which I think is bad for the lens if it's got this big heavy teleprompter on it. So I think to turn it off, I would take it off or support it and like let it push in. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope I don't break my lens tonight because that makes tomorrow very awkward. I'm gonna go on to the internet, see if I can buy a new lens for this camera that isn't motorized. But anyway, I'm blabbering. Thanks for tuning in, all 25 to 30, 40 people who watched this but didn't say anything. I can still see you. And I'll see you when I react to the penultimate episode, I think, of Lower. Why did I yawn at the penultimate word of my sentence? Like, I had one more word to say when I was done, and that would be the best place to end. But no, I yawn at a pillow talk word. That's really annoying. Anyway, get out of my house.